Hey guys, how's it going? This is BillyEatWorld, and today we're taking a look at a Battlefield 4 loadout inspired by the British Special Air Service. The SAS, which is otherwise known as the Regiment, are the elite special forces of the British Army. The SAS specialise in unconventional warfare, including intelligence gathering, sabotage, hostage rescue, and counter-terrorism. The regiment is actually 3 regiments strong and was originally formed in 1941 during World War II. The SAS accepts only the best soldiers into its ranks, and of roughly 400 applicants who attempt their grueling admission course every year, only around 30 are actually given a posting. Despite the fact that its members and its operations are highly classified, throughout the years a number of missions have been made public that have given the SAS a reputation for being one of the toughest and deadliest fighting forces in the world. In 1980, the SAS rescued hostages from the Iranian embassy in London. They abseiled in from the roof and eliminated all of the terrorists except for one, who they captured. The most famous SAS mission though was the Bravo 20 patrol, which took place in Iraq during the First Gulf War in 1991. An 8-man SAS patrol was deployed to gather intelligence behind enemy lines and to destroy Scud missile sites. The patrol was discovered by Iraqi forces and was forced to retreat. Over the next few days, Bravo 20 became separated and eventually all but one member was killed or captured by the enemy. In order to get to the Syrian border to escape, the remaining patrol member had to travel 290 kilometers on foot and in harsh desert conditions. During Bravo 20's retreat though, despite being hugely outnumbered, it's estimated the patrol killed or wounded more than 250 enemy soldiers, which just goes to show the deadly effectiveness of the British SAS. The SAS, being a top-tier special forces unit, has many different weapons at its disposal for different applications. The unit's primary assault carbine is the Colt Canada C8, which is basically the same as the M4A1 carbine. Normally the C8 is fitted with the Elcan C79 sight, which is also known as the M145, but it's also often fitted with the EOTech holographic sight for close quarters engagements. In addition to the C8, the British SAS use a number of other weapons that make an appearance in Battlefield 4, including the M249, the G36C, M416 and the L96. Bravo 20 were deployed in the desert with full survival gear and long-range weapons like the M16 and the M249. But for this loadout, I've decided to run with a stealthier setup which fits better with the counter-terrorism and hostage rescue operations the SAS is required to carry out. In this video, I'm running the Recon kit and using the M4 because, like I said earlier, it's almost exactly the same gun as the Colt C8. The C8 is actually not limited to 3-round bursts like the M4 is in Battlefield 4, but realistically Special Forces wouldn't be firing extended bursts with an assault carbine anyway. Attached to the M4, I'm using the EOTech Holo sight, the Suppressor, the laser sight, and a combination of the angle grip and the ergo grip. And to round out this loadout, I'm using one of the standard pistols of the SAS, the P226 with tac light, suppressor and mini RDS. For my perk and other equipment, I'm running with the Spec Ops perk and an assortment of Special Forces gear, including the C4, Claymore mines and flashbang grenades. Prior to the last few days, I hadn't really touched the M4 at all because, to be honest, although I burst most of the time with carbines, I don't like being limited to burst fire. I thought this gun would be a lot harder to use than it was, and although it didn't really blow me away with its performance, I could hold my own in pretty much any situation. The M4 seems to fire pretty fast, but you really aren't able to make use of the weapon's maximum rate of fire unless you're timing your shots perfectly. The gun also has a pretty crazy horizontal recoil, and because you're constantly bursting and feeling that first shot recoil, it's got a decent upwards kick as well. This makes hitting long-range targets pretty difficult, and honestly, along with the fact that it's dealing a lot less damage at range than an assault rifle would, I was trying wherever possible to close the gap with my enemies before opening fire. Where this gun really shines though is in its ability at close quarters. It reloads very quickly, and with the laser sight, it's very accurate firing from the hip. It's also more accurate than your average assault rifle when firing on the move, so on more than one occasion I was able to use this to my advantage and take out my enemy while dodging their shots. The M4 isn't probably going to become one of my go-to carbines, but it certainly was effective in some situations and I had a lot of fun using it. The P226 is my most used pistol in Battlefield 4 because it fires fast and it's got a nice capacity. I mainly relied on my M4 for most engagements, but there was a few situations that the P226 came in handy. The C4, as always, came in handy pretty rarely, but when it did, it was well worth it. There's nothing quite like parachuting in and dropping a few bricks of C4 on an unsuspecting tank. I don't tend to use the claymores very much, but I found they were actually pretty useful, especially in TDM. You'd be surprised how often people are stupid enough to blindly run around a corner straight into a claymore, and now that in Battlefield 4 the claymores don't disappear when you die, sometimes it can take half a match for someone to finally trip over it. The Spec Ops perk is probably a little less useful. It helps you to stay hidden from motion detectors, and when you level it up it gives you extra C4 and buffs your tugs, but I still feel like I could have stayed alive a little bit longer with the defensive perk. So is this a loadout I'd run with again? Well, to be honest, I probably wouldn't. I don't mind the M4, but it's not my favourite carbine, and I kind of felt a little bit like a stealthy support player running around with the C4 and claymores. I think the C4 and claymores are both pretty good, but I think this kind of aggressive recon playstyle should really be coupled with at least the motion balls or the tugs. They are by far the most useful recon gadgets in my opinion. That being said though, it was a whole heap of fun to run with this loadout, so if you're an admirer of the British SAS or you just like aggressive recon and blowing stuff up, then give this one a shot. Feel free to switch out the M4 for something else though. The Ace 21 or the AK-5C would probably be my pick for this loadout. But anyway guys, that just about wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, if you like what you see, please remember to like, comment and subscribe. And if you haven't already, please check out all my other Battlefield 4 videos. I've got them all linked in a playlist in the description below. And if you have any suggestions for loadouts that you'd like to see in upcoming videos in this series, then let me know in the comments of this video or send me a tweet on Twitter at BillyEatWorld. But anyway guys, until next time, see you later and have a good one.